Is it on? Is it on, honey? Is this thing recording? What's up, YouTube land, Twitter land, Instagram land, Snapchat, and all the lands across the land? This is your girl, TS Madison, coming to you loud, live, and always and forever in color from the Outlaws podcast with me. Like, it wouldn't be nothing with nobody else, honey, because I'm most definitely an outlaw. Now, listen, every time I have a guest on the show, my guests are usually people who have went against the grain. They've done some things, honey, where they stood and whoever they are, and this is why they've been labeled outlaws, because everything I do it and I stand in the motherfucker, because ain't nobody gonna whoop me, okay? It is my honor to have this gentleman here who I have watched. I've watched countless shows. I've watched movies. I've watched his career. And when I was a butch queen, and right before I turned over into a woman, I wanted to be an actor because I would see this man making me laugh so much. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Well, matter of fact, I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Oh, wow.
So we have this on our show. It's called Talk Your Shit.
Okay.
This area of the show, it's where you tell us who you are, what you do, what you're proud of. This is your time to shine. Like in this part, you tell us, my name is, I got this Grammy, I got this Emmy, I got this award, I've been nominated for this, I got this, I got these many titles of movies. This is the area of the time where you brag on your motherfucking self, where you come out your shell and you tell the people, because you know, I don't want no humility in this.
Okay.
I know it's black people, they tell us that we got to sit down and be humble. I don't want none of that in this.
Okay.
I want you to talk your motherfucking shit and tell them people who you are.
My name's Orlando Jones, and I'd probably say all rebels are welcome. I like rebels and outlaws. I like shaking shit the fuck up. I've always liked to shake the shit up, and I like to shake it up in your face, because there ain't no other way to shake the shit up.
Right.
When I'm going to hide it, that seemed like some bullshit. So as a storyteller, that's what I think I've done with my career. I got to tell motherfuckers up yours for 7-Up and write a campaign, have them pay me a bunch of money to understand how to talk to young people about rebellion culture. I got to launch reality television on FX Network and do all of what now people call normal television, but they don't realize it was Tom Bergeron and Jeff Probst and me and Phil Kogan, and they went to do Survivor and Hollywood Squares and Dancing with the Stars and Amazing Race. And I went to Mad TV and launched the second longest running sketch comedy show in the history of network television. I was the only writer and performer. I left first. I've been tenured in the Writers Guild for 30 years. I did the first content that Viacom ever put on iTunes. I was making content for mobile devices for studios and for myself in 2005. I was consulting networks and studios on building platforms and concepts like best available device, meaning the traditional television business as we know it is based on people making money off advertising dollars, right? That's the whole game. My first job's A Different World, biggest night in the history of television. Cosby, A Different World, Cheers, Wings, L.A. Law, Dan Rather, 40 million people, nobody changes the channel. That is the entire basis for the television business. You want 40 million people watching overnight. Now you ain't even got 5 million people watching overnight unless it's the Super Bowl or NFL game, because you watch everything in bits online over here. You don't watch like that no more. So the business I came into was doing that, and I was writing for that, right? As a writer, producer, long before anybody saw me in front of a camera, I'd already produced 100 episodes of television, created reality television, launched a couple of bands, put Kanye on, gave him his break, gave Maroon 5 their break, put David Banner on when nobody was messing with any of them cats on my show. So for me, I'm not, my job is to come smash. I Hulk come smash, and then I go handle my business otherwise. That's how we do it. I try and bring humility to it in that I'm a human and I respect working with other humans. But if you came to play with me, that's probably not gonna work out for you so good, because Hulk gonna come smash. That what Hulk do.
Yes.
What you want Hulk do? Kiss you? I might kiss you, but I'm still gonna smash.
I'm sitting here in glee with you running down your resume like this because, people will act as if like, well, who is that or what do they do? You know how people try to do.
Well, yeah. Well, the funny thing is they talking to me as an actor. They don't realize I've been a writer, producer, actor, musician, director for 25, 30 years. They just know this part. There are people that have no idea that I have had a major comedy career, right, in movies and all that.
Well, I do,
because they only know me as a dramatic actor. Because I don't. I mean, aside from Abbott Elementary, stuff like that. I mean, I've been pretty heavy in the drama game since 2010. So I'm like Mr. Nancy and American Gods and Good Lord Bird and Sleepy Hollow. All those guys, they're not funny. You know what I mean? Mr. Nancy's kind of funny, but Frank Irving is an asshole. He ain't funny at all. But you know what I mean? But a fun character to create. But again, I wrote Mr. Nancy.
Yeah.
I produced that show.
Yeah.
When it was a mess, I consulting produced it and landed the ship. When they had all their problems. I mean, then they got mad at me because I landed the ship. But I mean, that's what insecurity breeds. But I didn't do it for them. That was the point. I did exactly what I wanted to do. I said exactly what I wanted to say, and it went viral twice.
Yes.
So, I'm like, try again, bitches.
I am like I'm absorbing all of this because like I've been watching you for so long. And I love to hear, I just love to hear that. Like I love to hear you, I did this is what I did. I am this. I did this, I am this.
I put it to you this way. My company won the first virtual reality Emmy in 2015, right? We built the Sleepy Hollow virtual reality experience. You were all of a sudden in Oculus, in the Sleepy Hollow cemetery looking around. It's creepy. Out of the mist comes Ichabod Crane. He says, be careful. Headless been spotted in the area. If you make a move, you could die. Wish you Godspeed. And you hear Headless galloping up behind you, and timed off your turnaround, he dismounts and swings his axe at you, and you reflexively duck. That's the virtual reality experience. You take off the Oculus. We snap your picture. We point to the screen. There's your head chopped off in the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. You share it around your social media channels, and we data collect the audience. We put it at San Diego Comic-Con. We ran 4,700 people through it over the course of a weekend. And we did that for Fox when we won the first virtual reality Emmy for storytelling and virtual reality, right? So when I was doing that, these fools trying to talk to me about what acting role I was doing this week.
And you like, I'm over here making virtual reality.
I'm trying to storytell in a different medium that doesn't convey empathy by looking at somebody else. It conveys empathy by it happening to you. You know what I mean? That's the way VR is. So I'm trying to, it's really a code writing sonic. It's a different type of storytelling. So I just thought it was funny that, as people are like, man, have you won any Emmys lately? I'm like, yeah, for VR, but not for acting.
I want to talk about, well, you know what I've got you here for to talk about.
Uh-oh.
I want to talk about Mr. Nancy.
Okay.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you.
Kind of you.
Thank you. Thank you for standing in your blackness. Thank you for making them see us. Thank you for not backing down in your blackness.
What for?
Thank you. Thank you for not trying to conform. Thank you for being a voice, the voice in a space like that show. started to really make me understand the different aspects of, like, because I'm, as a trans person, you're or anywhere under the queer umbrella, you're already hellbound.
No question.
Ain't no questions about you. You going to hell.
100%.
But then when you start looking at the way on a show like American Gods, and you start looking at the way how religion is broken up into so many different civilizations, cultures. You know, you looking at that or whatever, and it's just like, okay, well, where's ours? Because Black people been Christian since I know. Where ours at? What we was worshiping before we got here. What we knew before we were indoctrinated into Christianity. What was it? And for you to write that.
40% Muslim.
Really?
Yeah.
For you to write that. And for us to, I sat back, I might have rewound that so many times just to be like, oh my God, you know, and when the show aired, I was like, he's gonna get in trouble. I said this to myself, like, he gonna get in trouble because it's too strong. He is too, it's just too much.
Here's the funniest part of the thing. The first speech for American Gods on the slave ship was written by Brian Fuller and Michael Green. And Brian Fuller is a member of the LGBTQ plus, or as I like to say, semen receptive community. Because you got semen receptive and then you got semen deniers. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Even if you are a denier, you are sometimes receptive, but that's a whole nother discussion we don't need to get into. But those are two white guys. And the first speech is so beautifully crafted. And I had a great meeting with those guys. And Brian's a great writer, and so is Michael. But our collaboration, what we're able to do to bring it to life, to me, speaks to the beauty of art. When you put real storytellers together, suddenly these ideas and constructs of race and who and all that bullshit becomes unimportant, right? Brian was the type of guy who has been fighting as a person and a member of your community his entire life. And in American Gods, he was able to show love in so many different colors and flavors and flowers, right? And when we talked about Mixed and Nancy, that was part of it. Like by the time you get to season 2 and you see him with Thor, and you realize this dude is seducing Thor. What is about to happen, right? And you realize he's from a matriarchy. So he doesn't see men as having any value, not like women, not from where he's from, because that's the culture he's from, right? These just sort of ideas that people think are supposedly revolutionary are totally true. The Akan people of Ghana are a matrilineal society where men cannot rule. And that is where he came from. That's why he is always talking about Sheba. He's always talking about the Black goddess only. That's what he values, nothing else. And that's what I think was the most controversial of it. I think that's what pushed the button more than anything, because that's the part I wouldn't let go of. So in season 2, by the time you see the second speech that goes viral, the one that I wrote in the funeral home, suddenly there was no, first, I don't think they expected me to be able to write something else that would go viral. I don't think they thought that I could write on the same level as Brian Fuller and Michael Green. And frankly, the person who I think had that confidence was really Neil Gaiman, because he was the person that asked me to do it. So it's so crazy how it all sort of came to be, that somehow they had handed me the reins and here I was to do it. And I didn't ask for them,
but you did it.
I knew how to do it, and they needed me to do it, and I did it. And I'm the job I did had the impact it was meant to have. And he wasn't a bust in season 2 because these guys went away, right? In fact, he was still a standout in season 2, and then season 2 launched to far bigger numbers than season 1, and then suddenly, you've embarrassed some people, and you're not supposed to do that, and you out of pocket, and next thing I know, they got me on slot machines, and day before I'm supposed to go to work, they tell me I'm no longer working there. The funniest part of the whole thing was I didn't even get a phone call from the people who I had a contract with. I got a phone call from the studio. I'm from the network, who I had not that contract with. I had a marketing deal with them, but not that. It was hilarious. I laughed.
And they called you and they said, hey,
we're not picking up your option. Just wanted to call and let you know. I was like, well, I don't have an option with you. Well, you know what I mean. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I do. Sure.
Well, how did you fight it?
No, before.
Did you think that what you needed to do, it did what it needed to do?
Let me tell you what happened. This is the funniest part of the whole story to me. I got fired, I think it was September, like mid-September, is when I got that phone call. And right around the bottom of September, early October, the funeral home went viral.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we got to December, it was on fire. It was crazy. And it had surpassed the slave ship, which I never thought would ever. I didn't believe that was possible. It just it had taken on another life. And at that point, anything I could have hoped for as an artist had happened. I mean, what you couldn't take it away from me, it was there. They were selling, people were signing up to see what was going to happen next with Mr. Nancy.
We wanted,
right?
We wanted to know.
And when they dropped me, people snatched their money back. And that was power. And it scared people. And I'm sure it made me a pariah to some, right? But the funniest part was I remained a fan. I came into that pure of heart to bring that character to life. To modern day, I fought for myself and my fellow cast members when suddenly they were trying to change the mythology but not tell any of us what was going on. And I thank God for Ian McShane, who was probably my biggest supporter there, and Chris Byrne and all those cats. And, we got it done, right? And the work that I was being fired from, the work that I had just done was exploding. So for me, my point was made, right?
Right.
Had that not happened, then you could say, who cares, right? But to this day, it's jumping platforms. It's the craziest thing. It is absolutely beautiful.
I think we, especially we people of color, we go back and we watch that because I think that's when we felt the most seen. We felt our story was the most televised. It was the most
unapologetic.
Heard. Yeah,
the way they. Unfortunately, I used to joke about. I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I used to joke about driving Miss Daisy. I grew up in the Deep South. I'm from Mobile, Alabama. Okay, so I'm from nobody's fancy place nowhere. I am a Southerner. I went from Mobile, Alabama to Columbus, Georgia to Greenville, South Carolina, Greenville to Tallahassee, Florida, Tallahassee, Orangeburg, South Carolina, right? Then we moved back to Greenville. I went down to College of Charleston, Montreal, Canada, and then I came out to Hollywood when I was 19, 20, writing on A Different World, right? And I was a teenager. And that's how I got here, right? Early 90s, I'm invisible in the room, but I'm a writer-producer, so I'm at all the parties, I'm at all the places, I'm everywhere, right? But I'm invisible. I'm this 20-year-old black kid. Ain't nobody paying me no attention. So people are entirely themselves. And I get that complete education with the very folks who are still in charge to this day. So I was so well educated in what this was because I was invisible in the room for so long.
And you were just absorbing, just.
How could you not? I'm sitting in the room where all the decisions are being made. It was a small town. I'm sitting on the biggest show in town. Everybody is there. I'm invisible. Ain't nobody checking for,
Just collecting.
Just listening and learning and absorbing and getting a clear picture. And I was so taken care of by this Black woman. Her name is Susan Fales. And this white lady who was a former Detroit school teacher, her name was Deborah All. And that Jewish lady and that Black lady, I was untouchable. And they looked out for me. And I sat in their offices and Susan took me everywhere to everything. She called me Boo Boo, her son. And, her mother was Josephine Permise, one of the most famous stage actresses from the 1940s. She was Harvard educated. Her, as a writer, Whitley Gilbert in A Different World was based on her.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you wrote all of those things?
She was writing that character, but my first writing job in Hollywood was writing on A Different World, and she was my boss. So I learned to write in a writing room where she was the showrunner.
And you were 19.
I was 19. She had me for 2 years, and then I went and did the pilot of Martin and Rock Live and Sinbad Show and all that. But the person who brought me in and hired me for my first job was Susan Fales.
So when you sit back and you watch these episodes of the shows that you've written on and watch how they've moved culture, because a lot of these things that you've written on and done, you're a part of moving culture, like moving.
Well, that was the plan. I mean, when I came, listen, I didn't see nobody they ain't had no flavor. You know what I mean? Like from where I'm from, I saw these dudes, they ain't had no seasoning whatsoever. You know what I mean? But it's a tricky game, right? Because if you got too much seasoning, they don't want you. Because you know what I mean?
Obviously.
You know what I mean? That's a little too much, right? They want something a little bit more bland, right? To productize, you know what I mean? That's the idea, right? Something to productize. That makes sense, right? There's no interest in art, right? They don't care about what story you're trying to tell, right? I'm trying to see me, see my aunties, see my family, like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I don't see them. I see some folks, don't get me wrong, but they're not.
You don't see you.
I don't see what I know to be Black American culture, which is Black Southern culture, HBCU culture, music culture. You know what I mean? Geechees, Gullas, boy. Me from that, you understand? So, because I'm from that culture, but I don't sound like it, people mistake me, and I get it. That's on purpose.
Because you were in the room,
absorbing
it all, and really knowing how to maneuver through.
You can't. The best advice I ever got was from a guy named Paul Aaron. I love him dearly. Paul Aaron told me, he said, "Listen, kid, I'm going to give you the one jewel I know will help you through. I want you to shut the fuck up." When you go into this writing room for the first 14 weeks, I want you to shut the fuck up. And I want you to sit in that room and listen and get an understanding for who the people are in the room, what they respond to, and what they care about before you try and pitch an idea. Don't do that. You're not going to impress them, but you so funny. It's never going to work. Their egos are never going to see you as better than them. So what the fuck are you? Just shut the fuck up for 14 weeks. And I promise you, everything will be fine. And I took his advice.
And found out exactly what you need to do, which kind of speaks to, like when I got the chance to produce my own television show, what was very important to me was I had Black people on my staff. I had Black producers, Black showrunner, because if we telling a story about me, it's no shade. A white person ain't gonna understand it I can sit there and tell them all day. Okay, when you're making the greens, you put the hog mog in there. You know what I'm saying? You take smoked turkey in there.
No.
I can tell them this all day.
That's a waste of time. Unless you run up on a white person who grew up under
that
some
way.
little black lady who grew up that way.
That way.
That white lady,
she know how to do it.
But that white lady is an anomaly.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying about Brian Fuller and Michael Green. Those guys are anomalies. They might have skin, but they are disenfranchised. So they get it, right?
Yeah.
But that's few and far between.
Few and far between.
Yes.
And so that's why it's important when you producing stuff or you creating stuff that's around black, you gotta have black folks in this thing because the story ain't gonna be told right.
Look, the people who I believe really stand 10 toes down in that I know personally are Reggie Bythewood and Gina Prince Bythewood. They're crews through and through. The stories even that Gina chooses to do and that Reggie chooses to do, Swagger, Woman King, are extraordinarily black, and the staff that they use by which to tell those stories are also predominantly black. That is, they have always stood 10 toes down like that as storytellers in terms of working with other storytellers of color in front of, behind the camera, everywhere. And that's obviously for them not to the exclusion of anybody white. There's always a multicultural group, but you see a lot of us there and in key positions in working. And I think that's kind of the thing. Art is tricky like that, right? Like Dallas Austin's one of my best friends. One of my act like Scott Storch don't exist. I mean,
right.
Them's both beasts. So I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? And I ain't even gotten to my Latino Asian brothers that was like eating it up. You know what I mean? So as musicians, so I think art is kind of different. I exist in that space, right? But once you get outside of art, and you start talking about how those cultures behave, you're right. There are anomalies within them, but generally the people who are the most persecuted are the ones that make the most beautiful art. I mean, what's going to probably come out of Gaza is going to be heartbreaking, but it's going to be beautiful, beautiful art because that's what comes out of pain. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
That's what it is. So,
and you need the people that are truly telling the story to be there to tell the story.
100%.
And so with me on my show, we took a month before we were even able to shoot it because those were my requirements. My requirements were yeah. Those are my requirements.
Okay.
Those are my requirements.
Okay, I'm not trying to get in trouble.
My requirements is that because it's like I wanted to show. I didn't, because it's like when people start telling our stories, it gets diluted with something, and usually when we get greenlit for something,
sure.
Well, how can we put this to divert? Everything don't need to be diversified.
No, everything does not.
Sometimes it need to be all that. It needs to be all Negro. God damn it. Because if we doing a show, we trying to tell a story, they not a part of that.
If you've learned anything from Woody Allen as a storyteller, his New York is a very, very, very Jewish New York with very few black faces, even in the background for New York City, because that's not the story he's telling. Not to the exclusion of you, but not to the inclusion of you either.
Right.
So
I mean, I understand it.
That's what I'm saying. So as such, every storyteller has the right to tell it the way they want to tell it. I'm proud of you for grabbing the reins, because what mostly happens is people are more interested in being famous than they are telling stories.
Nah. I need people to know that when you watching something that got something to do with me, it's niggas in this bitch.
Yes, I understand.
It's niggas in here. And you got to know that it's not excluding, our white counterparts. It's just that when I was growing up, we was in this neighborhood over here, they were in over there.
Exactly, yeah.
We weren't holding hands going down the street. We was in separate neighborhoods. And when we start telling our story and saying why we were over there, see, what I think tends to happen is people don't want to admit how divided we were and how
Oh,
divided
sure.
we are. They want to admit that.
Yeah,
and
I
they want to
agree.
be like, oh, well, we all was together. No, we were not. No, that's not what happened. What happened was,
What happened?
what had fucking happened was,
See what it say right here on the paper is
this.
This say Emancipation Proclamation. And according to this here paper, this ain't my paper, this your paper.
This, yeah.
I'm free. Now, I don't know why you thought you had to write on a piece of paper I was free. I don't know why you thought that was necessary. That ain't none of my business.
Yes.
I knew I was free the whole damn time. But thank you, I guess.
Thank you.
For this paper telling me I'm free. But you know what you did, because see, I got this fucking paper with a bunch of names on it.
But the gag is, we should have never had that paper. You should have never owned us in the beginning.
You know, W.B. Du Bois tells a very interesting story about how that paper came into existence. And and the comedy of this is that this story, I don't even know what political world it would fall under, but it's just the story and it's the truth of what happened. What happened was there was no such thing as indentured servitude there was only indentured servitude in the American colonies. In the 15th and 16th century, there were no slaves. There wasn't even a concept of race. Like, nobody gave a shit. People were all kind of colors. So what literally happened was there was a very, very short number of white women. Because if you were a well-to-do white woman, why the fuck was you getting on a boat coming anywhere over the water for a year with these ruffians to get raped? No, thank you, sir. You weren't taking that trip. So the white women who made that trip often worked as indentured servants next to black men and subsequently did not wish to marry white men that they had previously worked for. They married the black men and they were having biracial children. And biracial children was becoming a majority and it was a norm and there was nothing weird about it and nobody cared. And wealthy white men and business owners had a problem, and that is that the price was rising for the cost of labor. Because these new biracial kids were not indentured servants and they weren't second-class citizens, so they wasn't about to play your game. They demanded more, and they needed a way to suppress wages, and they also needed a way to move what was happening, separate this sort of unholy alliance between white women marrying these black men and producing these workers who were too expensive and way too arrogant. And as such, they created the concept of race that they inscribed in law to say that if you had pigment, well, then you were an automatic second-class citizen, and then you could be a slave, in essence. And the guy who made the case for it, Anthony Johnson is his name. Take a look. He was a black man. He was an indentured servant, married a black woman. He became free. He became the wealthiest slave owner, tobacco farmer in the American colonies. Stupid wealthy. He had a blacksmith that worked for him that wanted to leave after his 7 years and go work with a white man. He said, "You can't leave." And the dude said, "I worked my 7 years like you worked your 7 years. What are you talking about?" "Of course I'm going to leave. Me and this dude's going to start our own business. I'm done." He sued the white man for taking his worker. And he won. And the court gave him, the black man's, life rights into perpetuity.
Oh, God.
And that legal precedent is what opened the door for what we have been battling against so long. But the door got opened and then exploited later because white slave owners were like, well, what is this? He gets to keep his black slaves into perpetuity and we don't? Well, that's not right. This, along with the growing problem, create a narrative. And we end up with Birth of a Nation, right? Mm-hmm. Black man's the boogeyman. Birth of a Nation, I guess the first Hollywood blockbuster, right? What was the original title of Birth of a Nation?
What was it?
The Klansman. That's what it was. The Klansman was the original title of Birth of a Nation, the first Hollywood blockbuster. And they thought, that's not playing well. Let's call it Birth of a Nation. And then they changed it to that. So with that context of how stories are being told, how narrative is being driven, how perceptions are being pushed on people. In my work, be it Dr. Lee, Mr. Nancy, in your work, what I love about you is that we are pushing against that culture, saying that despite where you come from, you can still be all of these fucking things, no matter who you are. And that liberation has nothing to do with race, but everything to do with race at the same time. I don't believe it to be the exclusion of anyone. fuck. I don't want anybody to be excluded. But I don't think we got to be stepped on all the motherfucking time.
Me too.
That's the ludicrous concept. And look, right now we're the number 2 minority. You know, Latinos are the number 1 minority in the country. So the real question is, what y'all doing to get us back to number 1? Who you got pregnant lately? Y'all need to get y'all game together. Y'all need to get y'all game straight.
Orlando, I love you much. I love your work. Obviously, I didn't know deeply how deep you were in the work. So I've been loving your work without even knowing that this was your work. I thank you immensely for your. I ain't watching it.
I just finished the novel, by the way.
Really?
I just finished the Anansi novel.
Are you gonna?
Yeah, I got to get it out to my publisher. If my publisher's watching and asking why I'm not getting you your manuscript and I'm sitting here, I'm sorry, but Madison had called.
But this is the thing, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Now we know we getting a Mr.
Yes, you are. You're getting one. So, I mean, I was already doing it. So I was like, I'm just going to write the world I know I want to write. So I'm happy with it. It's dope.
My God. Thank you.
It's really dope. So I'm excited about it.
Oh my God, I'm almost about to cry.
So yeah, you'll get him soon.
Thank you.
Him and his daughter, Afroniki.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Orlando, thank you.
Thank you.
I love you. Thank you for coming on my show.
I love you back.
Thank you for that exclusive. Is that an exclusive?
I think it is.
We give Mr. Nancy?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. This isn't exclusive. That's right. Yeah, I haven't told anybody. That's right. Yeah. Exclusive.
Oh my God.
I mean, for you, yeah, of course.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's my girl right there.
I'm too excited. Like, bro.
It's gonna be fun.
Oh God. Can I get a part in it?
Yes.
You know, I'm a Bilquis in my own right.
Yes.
But I'm the goddess of all
No,
with
yes.
all the parts.
By the way, yes. Absolutely. It's all about the gods and goddesses.
Write me some kind of stuff that I'll be in there, because I'm definitely a seductress.
You will fit perfectly. I got you. You don't even have to think about this. I got you.
Oh God, I'm excited. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Orlando Jones, and we have just outlawed on the Outlaws podcast. We love you. Orlando, tell them where they can follow you and what.
The Orlando Jones, Facebook, Instagram, X, Snapper the chats, TikTok, I'm everywhere. Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. And I'm actually back on social media. I was kind of like...
You did go for a second.
Girl.
You did go for a second.
Facebook got to change in the algorithm, and then I had like millions of followers, and somebody jacked my page. And when I called Facebook, I was like, yo, somebody jacked my page. Like, what's popping? And they was like, oh, no, we can't do nothing about that. And I was like, wait. The hackers got more control of this than you? All the time I put, and then you just like, what? You know what? I was like, I'm done with y'all. And that's when I was like, let me just take a break, cause I just spent all this time. But
you got to come listen with this project that you're working on. You got to get back.
Oh no, I'm in it. I'm in it. I'm about to relaunch everything, YouTube and the whole nine.
And I'm gonna be so active over there pushing all the stuff.
Oh, girl, come on, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
I can't
knowing
wait.
that Mr. Nancy back.
Oh no, yeah, Mr. Ben, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then
sure.
All right, y'all heard it here first, honey. Listen, make sure y'all tune into the podcast and keep your eyes open because you never know where you're gonna find the doll.
Ooh. Hey.
Hey. All right.